Shane Walsh, Clonburn, Galway.
All the way it comes across the air. Shane Walsh, this way and that. What about that for a piece of brilliance? Super goal by Shane Walsh, his sixth ever in the championship.
It's mum and dad, and there's the four kids, as we call us. Barry be the oldest, then there's Aisling, then Brian, and then myself. I'm the youngest and the most good looking, they say. So, but I suppose like the sporting side, mum definitely claims it. She has all her medals in from her cross country days, and from the I think it's the javelin she had as well back in the day. So, and dad, then his claim to fame is that he used to play in his wellies down the field, so I don't know which one is a better one to go with. But yeah, no, I suppose football has always been huge in our family. Everyone has played it. Aisling, I suppose, was part of the All-Ireland winning team there in January with Clonburn ladies. So yeah, she's the bragging rights at the moment in the family, but I'm hoping to push that close in my career, hopefully try and eclipse that anyways, and definitely with Galway anyways, and we'll see what the club then after that. He hates when I mention him, but my principal in national school at the time, Father Brandon, like he was probably, apart from mum and dad, like he would have been the next cog, I suppose, in my wheel that kept me turning in the right direction, because he was a big believer in working with the 2 feet, and like Joe, I remember back in the day, and like I think it was in senior infants in school, he came over and we used to play, like there was 3 pitches in Clonburn National School where I went to school, and the 3 pitches, normally there was the small pitch was where all the younger classes played, and then there was the middle pitch where kind of you'd have the middle group would play the older girls, and then you'd have the seniors, then would be kind of 4th, 5th and 6th would play up on the big pitch. So I remember he came over one day anyways and saying to me about practicing. He saw me scoring a few goals with my right foot, and he came over to me and said, I'll give you a couple of weeks. He said, but when I come back in, you're not going to be allowed to kick on your right foot. So knowing kind of that I was football mad, I went home and I was kicking the ball, and you know, it was a concept that did take a bit of time, because like I said, you had to put practice into it. Throwing the ball up and swinging the legs was the start, but you know, from seeing players like Kieran MacDonald, Paul Joyce, Derek Savage, Jaff Allen, you know, I was lucky that a lot of role models to look up to be able to try and execute it as well. So that was something that I think that was really beneficial for me. For anyone growing up, I think that's the big thing, that you have to go out and practice yourself as well as what you do with training, because at training you only have a certain amount. I know, and it's funny because we always say you're swamped in inter-county level, but like they still only have you probably 16 or 17 hours a week, and like there's 168 hours in the week, so what are you doing outside of that? And you know, everyone has different things, but at the young level, I think it's huge for kids to be out playing the ball up against the side of the house, because that's what I used to do when I was younger. I used to kick the ball left and right foot up against the house, break a few windows as well. Have mum and dad scourging me for a while, but I think hopefully now I'm starting to pay them back now. I suppose everyone has an idea of what they'd like to see in a football field. Like, you know, I'm a forward, so obviously there's a forwards union, there's a backs union, there's a goalkeepers union, I think. But I think, like, look, obviously playing an aggressive style is always probably been the forefront of my mind. As in, like, when you're the ball at the back, it's how quick you can get it up front. And like, if you get it up front quick enough, the forwards will do the business for you.
Across over as far as Damien Comer, switched on here as far as Shane Walsh. A goal and 2 so far for him. Make it a goal and 3. The crowds will tell you he's got another.
We all work back to help each other out to win the ball back, and then obviously everyone attack at pace up the field, and that's the way I would obviously like to see it being played, and kind of just the ball be moved quickly, get it into your forwards, and you know, if there was a case of only having 6 on 6 inside one half, I'd take that in a heartbeat. But look, there's different challenges as well, like, and that's something I probably have adapted to over my career, that I started off playing. It was very much kind of, there were 6 forwards, there were 6 backs, and you might have 1 extra, whereas now it's very much a case of team defence, team attack, and it's just a great way for anyone, because if you think you're the finished article, like, that's where you're going to lose out. Whereas if you keep trying to develop yourself, and I think that's the big thing that Cian O'Neill as well has brought in this year, like just that continuous development, that nobody's a finished article. There's no such thing as perfection, but you can always strive for it. Like, so I think that's a huge thing for us, and for anyone as well that's trying to, I suppose, believe in playing football. Like, that's probably the big thing. I'm definitely sport 24/7. Anyways, I'd be watching something even like before the kind of final there was some day of sport on between the Munster football final, the Leinster final, the rugby, the soccer. Like I'd be watching everything, and look, it's kind of great for me because there's always bits and pieces. I suppose you're looking at in different games. Can I bring that into my game? Is that something that you can see happen in football if it happens in rugby? There's always little things like that you kind of get ideas from, and like that's I think what's big for me is probably imagination. That when you're going out in the field, that you have the imagination to do something different, because if everyone's doing the same thing, it becomes predictable. Whereas if you can bring something to the table that helps the team, obviously that's going to be a huge benefit as well. It's huge. Like even it's funny last year when the Spotify minutes, I don't know, I didn't get over 1 million minutes nearly on my Spotify playtime. So I probably spend a lot of time in the car between driving to training. I'm not exactly, even when I'm at home, I'm still about an hour away from Pearse Stadium. So there's always time for music in the car, and even that, every now and again, then coming up down from Dublin, I find it nice to kind of listen to between going from Adele to to a bit of Harry Styles and just people like that. It's kind of but yeah, it's kind of just nice. I like a few. There's always a mood. I have a couple of genres there in the car. You have a couple of sing-alongs there, as well as just a few that you kind of let out a few just to keep you going as well. So I think strip that down, the Gleam Pain, that's one. Anyways, do you want to ask why I know the words to that song? But I seemingly do. Then I go back to, you throw a classic of like Grace. Grace is like my go-to song. If anyone was to pick a song for me to sing somewhere, that'd be what I'd go for. Piano Man as well is another one I love, to Billy Joel. Michael Jackson as well, bit of Thriller thrown in there. Then Adele, Someone Like You is just, I always remember that from our days in St. Giles in school. That was kind of song became part of our journey to the World Cup final that year, and it'll always hold a place in my heart.